Let's talk about trades this offseason. There's going to be a lot of them. There's a lot of players that could be available, should be available, might not be available, but their names will be linked in rumors all offseason long. So today, me and James are going to go through about 50 names of players that we think could be traded this offseason. We'll not only tell you if they're going to be traded, we'll tell you where we think they're going to. So if you guys enjoy what you like seeing over here, make sure you subscribe to the Windup for more baseball content all off season long. We appreciate these amazing support. And hit that join button if you want to become a member on the channel, get some shout outs, get some benefits. We do appreciate all of you guys. But James, where should we start on the top of this list?
I think it's obvious the one guy. It's Tarik Skubal. We've now had reports coming out that the Tigers not only offered them an extension that was under 100 million, it was 80 million. A 4-year, $80 million extension for the best pitcher in baseball is laughable. If I was him, I'd be pissed off at them. This is someone that seems like where there's smoke, there's fire, and he probably will be traded this offseason.
Yeah, the weird thing I've been seeing is that executives think that there's no chance they can trade him because they're still competing and were competing and made the playoffs. So they almost don't believe that they will. But the fact that they are so far off on money feels like you almost are forcing their hand unless the Tigers are just willing to say, we'll take the qualifying offer, we'll attach that to you next season, and we'll take the draft pick that we get when we lose you.
Which again, honestly, maybe that is the right decision, or maybe they could just man up and pay the man what he deserves. But at the same time, if Tarik Skubal's on the market, 20 teams should be making the call to try and trade for him
29.
because there's going to be something that happens here, and it happens a lot when marquee players on 1-year contracts are traded where the return's going to be much less than you guys want, much less than
Yes.
you guys think. Corbin Burns got traded for Mark. What did he get traded for?
DL Hall and Joey Ortiz, guys who are like the 24th and 25th men on rosters.
Yeah, so this is going to be a situation where it's going to be underwhelming. So since it will be underwhelming, again, we think the Mets will be involved.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know, the Blue Jays should be involved. I'm sure the Dodgers will be involved. I'm sure the Red Sox will make a call.
Take any contender. They're going to be looking to trade for him.
Any contender that has a prospect. Like the Braves don't really have a prospect, so maybe they
No.
don't have enough to do it. But like there's every single team will try a little bit to make this trade happen.
Yeah. And ultimately, do you think he gets traded, James?
I ultimately think yes.
Wow. Okay. I'm on the fence now that I'm hearing more that executives think that there's no way. I'm leaning a little bit more no, but if he does, I do think he's going to be traded to the Mets.
Yeah, I think that this is just a situation where the Mets have a ton of prospect capital and they have to get the stain of last season wiped away from them as quickly as possible.
It's a quick way to do it by trading for Tarik Skubal. All right, another starting pitcher. We got a couple starting pitchers that we're going to rattle off here. Hunter Greene. Some rumors that maybe the Reds might consider trading him. This one, I'll put a firm no. I don't think he gets
Same.
traded this offseason. I'd be shocked. I don't even know what a package back would be because he has so much control and he is so good. It'd be a lot. It'd be like what we saw for Crochet last year. But I can't see the Reds moving on from him right now.
Probably be more than we saw for Crochet last year. Like Hunter Greene right now is probably one of the 20-ish best assets in all of baseball. Like in terms of how much he has on his contract, he's still got 4 years of team control at an average of like 14 million a year.
Yeah.
You just don't trade that guy. There's no way you would trade that guy. If you do trade them, you need a top 15, top 10 prospect in the whole game going back to actually get him. But with that being said, there's almost no way I think this happens. If this happens, the Reds have to close up shop, close the doors on the stadium, and just run out of town.
Should be forced to sell. That would be a disgrace to baseball and the fan base for sure if they trade Hunter Greene. How about Freddy Peralta? Same division, same cheap ownership. Milwaukee Brewers, they probably aren't going to re-sign Freddy Peralta or get an extension on him unless he takes a team-friendly deal. $8 million option. He's not due a lot of money. Apparently, he's on the block.
And this one does seem more real because we heard that rumor like 9 minutes after the Brewers were eliminated in the NLCS. For just some reason, it seems like they are dead set on trading him. But again, should pay him. But this one I think will get traded.
I also think he will too. I could see, again, similar teams, Mets, Phillies, I think could definitely be interested in a guy like Freddy Peralta. I think the Red Sox, I think never count out the Dodgers. Blue Jays should be in on him. Any team that is a competitive team right now should be in on Freddy Peralta just because he is, again, one of the top 20, 25 pitchers in baseball. He's a frontline starter. Again, you feel better as your 2 than you do as your 1, but he is good enough to be an ace. He's done it before. He can do it again. And it's probably, again, not going to cost a crazy amount either.
No, I could definitely see a team like the Orioles being in on Freddy
Yeah.
Peralta as well, going because a lot of teams in the National League will want Freddy Peralta, but the Brewers are still going to try and compete. Where I think the Tigers are going to like fake try and compete. Look at us try and compete for this wild
Even though
card,
we're
but the
trading
Brewers,
Skubal.
yeah, but the Brewers have so much pitching internally that they will lose Freddy Peralta. It's a tough loss, but they'll still be a favorite for the NL Central probably next year, even without him. At
Yes.
least one of the two favorites with the Cubs. So if they do trade him, it'll be the American League. I do like the Red Sox, the Orioles, the Blue Jays as the teams
I
I'm
also
watching.
sneaky like the Guardians too. I could see them
Yeah.
going for like a 1-year guy, $8 million. I know they don't spend money, but this feels like the kind of player where it's like we could take a 1-year chance and try and be a little bit better than we were this year, especially if the Tigers are falling off.
Especially because similar to Tarik Skubal on a 1-year deal, Freddy Peralta will not be traded for very much.
No, and
It'll be a close to major league caliber infielder or starting pitcher.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Last pitcher we'll talk about in this little chunk here, Sandy Alcantara. The rumors have been swirling for over a year now that he's going to get traded. It feels like if there's a time this offseason would be a pretty good chance to do it. He's got a couple years left on his contract. The Marlins are looking to make moves. I would be all over Sandy if I was a team looking to compete.
And there was so much smoke about Sandy at the deadline that it feels like the way that he recouped his value in the second half, which he did, he had 3.4 ERA in the second half, more strikeouts, fewer walks, command felt back. He went at least 6 innings in all but 2 of his starts again in the second half. This feels like we have very close to the former version of Sandy Alcantara back. I think the Marlins just didn't want to trade him in July because they didn't feel like they can get like a pretty penny for him. Now I think they can. And if they can, they have tons of pitching in the upper minors and Thomas White and Robbie Snelling. They have a team that's truthfully hilariously not far away from competing for a wild card spot. That's why I wouldn't trade Sandy, but if you can still trade Sandy, get some more pieces, be ready for this team to really compete in 2 years, like maybe you could make that make sense.
Does he get traded this offseason?
Yes, he
I
does
think
get
so,
traded.
too.
With
I
2
think he
years of
does.
control, great window to trade him.
I think pitching is going to be super active this offseason because a lot of teams need it, and there's a lot of bad teams, or we mentioned 2 good teams that have them. So,
Yeah, right?
yeah, they're looking to move on. All right, let's talk about a hitter. Ketel Marte. Not the hardest rumors right now, but we know there was that weird situation the second half of the season where the reporters came out and said that the Arizona team is tired of him, that he's not really showing his commitment to the Arizona Diamondbacks. They don't feel great. All this nonsense stuff that kind of felt like more of a witch hunt and a hit piece rather than the actual truth. I don't think Ketel Marte gets traded. I really hope he does, and I hope it's to our favorite team, the New York Mets. But I don't really see any reason why the Diamondbacks would or should move on from Ketel right now.
The Diamondbacks are one of these teams, though. Like when you look at the state, like the state of Major League Baseball, they're the real pivot point. Like they spent a lot of money this offseason trying to compete and signing Corbin Burns. It didn't work out, and they still almost made the playoffs even without him. But they are a team that I could see cutting tons of salary or staying the same, adding some. There's just most teams we don't know where they're going to go. So if they do want to do like a salary exchange, I can see them moving on from Ketel Marte, letting Jordan Lawler have second base all to himself, maybe getting an outfielder that they need or another pitcher that they need while shedding some money, while taking some money. He's a creative trade piece where you can see some sense made in trading him.
Yeah, like maybe they get a bunch of a couple players back that help overall roster rather than just one player. But truthfully, for a team that I think still does want to make the playoffs, they're a much worse team without Ketel Marte. So I don't think he gets traded.
I don't think he gets traded either. Just want to put him on the list because you're going to hear the rumors.
Yeah, I mean we got 50 guys. We're gonna start flying through these as we get a little bit further down and not as interesting players. But these
I got
are
some
more
names on here.
We got some names. Adley Rutschman. We know Ken Rosenthal put out that little feeler when the season ended that the Orioles would be considering moving Adley this offseason. They got Samuel Basallo. The catcher position beats the shit out of you, and it just seems like Adley Rutschman, old man Adley, time is catching up, and all those games that he played as a catcher during his rookie, second season, all that, just he doesn't have the same juice that he once had. But weirdly, the under the hood stuff actually looked better this past year than it did in 2024.
And also, when that report came out with the Basallo extension, that's all to me reasons why you keep Adley Rutschman, to have just the best catcher tandem in the league and 2 guys who are good enough hitters, especially in Basallo's sense, because he's not the best defensive catcher like Adley is, where you can DH these guys any day of the week and they're both in your lineup, and then you probably keep a third catcher on the roster and you move them around, you get rid of the wear and tear like running backs in the NFL. I think there's no way he actually gets traded. I think this one the smoke is unwarranted and it really doesn't make any logical sense. People don't trade catchers like that.
No, they almost don't. I could see if there was a team that would trade for him. I do feel like it would fit the Phillies well. Just another white boy that fits Bryson
Adley,
and Bryce
Trey,
and Trey and Alec, all those names. But also they need a catcher. I just don't know if the Phillies have what it would take to get Adley. And I don't know if you even really want to make that your move this offseason. So I don't think he gets traded either.
Or maybe that is the move you make because acquiring a catcher like that who has like the mystique of Adley Rutschman, that's a culture setting move. And where the Phillies are right now, they do need to establish or reestablish or reignite some kind of level of like culture in their team. Again, I don't think he's getting
Same
traded.
same aspect too, though, for the Orioles, who just brought in a new manager. Disappointing
Yeah.
season. That would I'm sure that pissed Gunnar Henderson off and a couple of the guys there who were like, "Wait, what? We just traded Adley. What the fuck are we doing?"
Oh, it would be again. I think it'd be brain dead for the Orioles to trade Adley
Yes,
Rutschman.
yeah.
But if they do, again, Phillies, I think Padres would be the two teams at the top of that list. I just see again, no logical, tangible way this is close to happening. The fact that it's even getting the shine that's getting, I'm shocked by.
Brandon Nimmo, New York Mets left fielder. I think he's getting traded. David Stearns, this is the positive of us being such diehard Mets fans. We know everything that goes on in that world. David Stearns prioritized defense, talked about the disappointing season. Not that I think that was directly aimed at Brandon Nimmo, but because of the money he's getting paid to play left field at what was pretty average this year, and especially defensively, it doesn't seem like it's ever going to be any better than it has been. All that money, I think they would like to move on possibly from Brandon Nimmo if he allows himself to be traded.
Especially of the sense that when you look at this Mets roster and like with David Stearns being here now 2 full years, this is just not a contract he ever would have signed.
Never.
And Brandon Nimmo, I think Brandon Nimmo's still a good player too, which
Very
is why
good,
he
yeah.
actually does maintain some level of trade value, despite having I think it's 4 more years left at $20 million.
Shocking amount, yeah.
I'll double check what that contract is, but he's still a corner outfielder who will be 20% better than league average with the bat, blast you 30 homers, steal 10 bags, and be adequate in the corner outfield. I do think the Mets team right now is looking for ways to get more athletic, and Brandon Nimmo is less athletic.
Yeah, he runs like a Madden 06 player, very rigid. There's not a lot of fluidity in Brandon Nimmo's game or life.
Brandon Nimmo has 5 years left at $20 million per.
Yeah, $100 million might be tough to move on from.
It is, but that's a situation where again you take on someone else's bad contract. We have some other contracts on this list, like a Ketel Marte or something, and you give prospects and Brandon Nimmo, you make the money even, and they get an outfielder which they need. But it does seem like the Mets are going to exhaust every avenue to try and trade Brandon Nimmo this offseason.
This is a dirty name you've got on here, James. Anthony Volpe. I'm just gonna answer quickly. No, they're not trading Anthony Volpe. He's not going anywhere.
They're not, but we've talked a lot about how to just empty the shortstop market is in baseball, and the fact that the Yankees at the deadline did go get Jose Caballero, who's very capable at shortstop and who got some legitimate time for them down the stretch. I don't think he's going traded, but I wanted to make a list here of any guy that you could hear a rumor about getting traded, and I think that you'll hear rumblings because Volpe's the perfect pull for these, mid-market, middle country teams, the Twins, the Brewers. There's so many, the Tigers, so many teams could use a shortstop. And the Volpe Yankee thing is sour.
Yes.
I think that Anthony Volpe has a higher ceiling on 29 teams in baseball and not named the Yankees, truthfully.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if he ever reaches even close to his potential with the New York Yankees. It feels like it's just toxic.
And they can still, you correct me if I'm wrong, I think they still they would get a haul for him.
But they get a lot back, yeah. A controllable young shortstop who plays good defense at the position and has hit 20 home runs in a season. A lot of teams would love that.
You could literally pick and choose like almost any kind of play. Again, this is more like NBA trade talk, where like because these kinds of trades don't happen in baseball. But the Yankees are a team or another one like this offseason. I can see them doing a lot, or I can see them doing nothing. If they want to really change everything, it's an idea.
It's an idea. Joe Ryan and Pablo Lopez. Let's group them together. The Minnesota Twins pitcher. I think one of them gets moved. I don't know who it's going to be, but I do think one. I think it's probably more likely to be Joe Ryan just because Pablo has that injury he's coming off of, and maybe teams will want to see him be healthy. Similarly, Joe Ryan's going to be in the same talks of like Freddy Peralta and Tarik Skubal and all those other top pitchers because he does have years of control. He's a top pitcher in the game. I don't know if he's a true ace, but someone that, again, would make your team better. Like I could see the Padres going after a Joe Ryan.
The Mets. I mean, every team could go after a guy like Joe Ryan. The Red Sox allegedly had him at the trade deadline, if you guys remember that mistake. But these guys are two true twos, and Joe Ryan is.
I forgot about that Red Sox thing. They're probably definitely going to be calling for him.
I think 15 teams are going to almost every team that was in the playoffs this year, and the 4 teams that just missed are going to be calling on Joe Ryan.
Joe Ryan for Jarren Duran, shake hands, call it a day.
Maybe giving some hints of who's going to be on this list later on, but it's Joe Ryan's a variable cost guy because you're still dealing with arbitration. Pablo Lopez is fixed cost. So I think the Twins being a team where every single nickel and penny really matters over there in Minnesota, you want to keep the fixed cost and you want to try and get rid of the variable cost. I think Joe Ryan does get moved and Pablo Lopez does not.
Mackenzie Gore and CJ Abrams, again, bunching up the Nationals together. 2 young guys that came over in the Juan Soto trade. I don't think either of them are being traded. I think if one is to be traded, hot take, CJ Abrams. I think that's the one. We know he's had the issue with showing up on time to a game where he was out in Chicago playing roulette, $5 roulette spins, which is crazy, absolutely nuts. And he can't play shortstop. He's horrible at the position defensively. He's obviously a great hitter and he's a great athlete, but he's dog shit at shortstop defensively. Mackenzie Gore's a left-handed pitcher who's shown the shine. I don't feel like you cash in and move on from him just yet.
I wouldn't cash in and move on from either of these guys.
No,
but just
of
the
course
fact that Jeff Passan named them in an article saying that there were teams that were inquiring and the Nationals weren't hanging up. The Nationals have like the young man front office right now. Everyone in the organization is like 34 years old. Like Paul Taboni came over from Red Sox player development, and now they're just. I think they're good. You're just listening to everything. Someone who said about David Stearns. Like, these aren't this, or this is not these front offices guys. They are still good players. I'd like both of them on most teams in baseball, but you could see a world where the Nationals just literally strip this to the studs. And you're just like, this is James Wood's team, and we just figure out the rest after that.
Yeah, they could. I don't think they will, though.
I don't think so either.
I'd be shocked because just James Wood alone would not. That's an even worse rebuild than what they have right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I just think they're
just playing on hard mode if they do that.
Let's win 50 games next year and figure this thing out.
Guy who definitely could be on the move, I think will be on the move, Sonny Gray of the St. Louis Cardinals. They seem to be shopping anyone who's getting paid any sort of money. He does have certain teams he can say for a no-trade clause, right? Or is it full no-trade clause?
I'm double-checking that right now, but Sonny Gray, I think it's a full, but it is... Yeah, full no-trade clause.
And that's, I think, to protect him from going back to New York ever. He's an Atlanta Brave to me. I think he's on the Braves next year.
And he's also, I mean, the only thing about him is that he's due a big money. He's $25 million against luxury tax, which is like top 8 for any starting pitcher AAV in baseball, and it's $35 million payroll. So that's the cash is $35 million. I don't think the Braves do that unless the Cardinals kick in money. The Braves are broke boys right now.
I mean, like they are, but we also know they have money. So, like,
true.
I also think for that ownership in that team getting embarrassed this year like they did, not even coming close to the playoffs, I think they're going to want to bounce back quickly.
There's another situation I can see the Orioles being very involved. Orioles management ownership has said we will spend money on pitching. I will believe it when I see it, but it's a time for them to do that.
I can see it being a Blue Jay too.
A Blue Jay, an Astro, a Giant. The Cardinals are not going to discriminate among who they can trade with. If they get any prospect back and don't have to kick in money, that's where Sonny Gray is going. So whoever wants to pony up the cash is going to get Sonny Gray.
Luis Robert Jr. got that big club option for $20 million this season, a club option for $20 million next season. One of the most, what's the right word I'm looking for? When you go both ways, it could be up, it could be down. What's the word?
I can't find a word. I don't know what you're trying to say.
Oh, extreme. It's like an
volatile.
Volatile. One of the most volatile players in baseball. You ask people around the league, you kind of don't know what it is. You know what it could be, but we also have seen what it has been. And it's been terrible, but he could be amazing. And I do think he gets traded.
I think so too. I think this is like the weird. I'm second time mentioning the NBA, like a sign and trade. You don't see these in Major League Baseball that often. We're like, we'll pay the $20 million, but we know we're going to get something back for him at some point. And Luis Robert, well, this year was terrible. In the second year in a row, he looked terrible. Under the hood, it was shockingly good.
Yep.
The bat speed still elite. Best swing decisions of his career by far. Highest walk rate of his career. Lowest chase rate. I think there's still another 5-win season in Luis Robert. And if I was a team that needed a center fielder, which is most teams in baseball, because center field's a kind of weak position right now, the fact that he's still just a great defensive player, you're getting a high floor, I think there'll be a market for sure.
I'm looking at Dodgers, I'm looking at Phillies, I'm looking at Mets, Astros, all those teams that are, again, in that competing spot that don't have a true center fielder right now, I think will be all over Luis Robert. It will depend what the White Sox want back from him, though. Apparently at the deadline, his ask was unbelievably high. Like they wanted Jonah Tong from the Mets, and that just wasn't going to happen.
No, and that's why he's still on the team. I think you create that leverage and you ask that high when you know you're going to let him opt in anyway and just do this whole thing again.
Steven Kwan, another guy who we've talked about as being overrated. People went absolutely ballistic, but it's true. You're proving it by going crazy from us calling him overrated. He is a completely fine player. He's very solid. He's solid, plays good defense out in left field, hits for average, gets on base enough, brings value to a team. What the Guardians were asking for at the deadline? Absolutely not. There's no way that you'd give up that much for Steven Kwan, but maybe they move on from him because truthfully, he's a guy who, with all the pieces around him, you like him in a lineup better than when he's like the second best hitter on your team.
Totally. And like you think, I think right now we might be seeing a bit of a corner outfield renaissance in Major League Baseball. I think teams now more want guys who can be dynamic corner outfield defenders. Just all the balls in play, all the more fly balls that are hitting baseball now. You want that to happen, and Kwan does that. And we heard about crazy asks for him at the trade deadline. So teams do want Stephen Kwan. It's just you're probably getting more of like an okay bat than the all-star bat we've seen 2 out of the 4 seasons of his career.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the landing home. I've seen Yankees rumored, which I think would be the worst decision that they can make. I feel like it's not a good player to bring into Yankee Stadium.
Padres.
Yeah, Padres I could totally see. Again, I could see the Dodgers being in on this just because their outfield has been so pitiful this season that they would be willing to bring in, I think, anybody who could be an improvement, and Kwan would be.
Astros in the same way. Again, we're seeing the Mariners, but I think the Mariners are usually not a team that trades big assets like that to get a guy like this. I just think that Kwan, I don't believe gets traded, but you'll hear calls about him, and it seems like he got relatively close to being traded at the deadline, so he's definitely worth mentioning.
I'm with you there. I don't think he is. Here's gonna be my hot take. Next guy, I think Oneil Cruz is on the verge of being traded. Reason being,
Love that.
it's not really that good. Can we have that conversation?
Yeah.
That now Oneil Cruz, the version that we've seen, is just a totally whatever player. It's just he has the ability to be really exciting.
Definitely. I think he still has that ability too. And similar to all the things we're talking about, Luis Robert, where we're buying traits and we just get the guy out of Chicago, get him on an actual good team, good organization, good culture. Maybe you unlock something. I think you still believe that for Oneil Cruz, especially because
I believe it less with him, though.
Oh, I definitely believe it because we've never seen it. Luis
Yes.
Robert, we've seen it.
Yeah,
Well,
we've
of course.
never.
It's so all pretend with Oneil Cruz.
Oneil Cruz has done like a week where you're like, oh my God, it's
There it
happening.
is.
And then he has like a month where he looks disinterested and doesn't ever touch a baseball.
And that part of it seems like the biggest problem with him, which shouldn't be a problem if you're a professional baseball player,
No.
seemingly being disinterested with your sport. So you kind of hope if you're trying to buy yourself into it, not being on the Pirates makes you more interested in the game you're playing. But the fact that he figured out center field a bit by the end of the year. The defensive metrics improved as season went on. He wound up being okay there. He's not, again, a premier center fielder, but he can be, I think, a plus corner outfielder. And you just hope that with the physical ability, with no one else in Major League Baseball hitting the ball as hard as him, you could just find a way, coax any kind of more contact, get, again, 30 homers, 40 steals, a 110 OPS plus, and plus defense in the corner outfield. Like, you know who that is?
Who's that?
Stephen Kwan.
There you go.
Very different player.
He's Franchi Cordero with better PR.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, there's still a little time where we're going to give Oneil Cruz a few more shots, but
I'm personally getting to the point where I'm getting tired with him. I'm tired of hearing about Oneil Cruz. Like, get traded. Let's see what happens.
Still fun though.
Let's see if he goes to the MPB in a couple years. All right, Taylor Ward. The Angels have to trade him. I think he's a trade 100%, but that's also using a normal brain. Thinking like Artie Moreno and Perry Minasian, they're probably going to hold on to him because they, for some reason, think they're going to be able to compete again, I think, which they haven't done in over a decade.
Well, they always think that. That's what the best part about the Angels. They're always in it. They're always ready to go. But for Taylor Ward's case, it's like, you got 1 year left. You might as well just cash in and trade this guy.
You got to, the things you love, sometimes you need to let him go. You just got to let Taylor Ward flourish somewhere else. Give him a shot.
I'd love to see Taylor Ward have big moments because Taylor Ward's a good baseball player. Taylor Ward
38 home runs this year or something like that?
I think it was like 6th or 7th in the league, 36 home runs, 100 RBIs. He plays balls to the wall in the outfield. Like, he's a fun baseball player. He's not a premier hitter. He shouldn't be the 3, 4, or 5 hitter.
No.
But he could definitely be the 6th hitter in a World Series team.
He'd be awesome on the Reds. Awesome. He'd be a way better version of Austin Hayes.
Reds, Royals, Phillies, Guardians, Mariners. There's a lot. I mean, Mariners usually like more outfield defense from their corners than Taylor Ward has at this point in his career. But Rangers, there's a lot of teams that should be ready to compete. That maybe not the Astros because the way we saw him slam into that fence in left field, but it should be a situation where almost every contending team wants Taylor Ward. The Cubs, when they lose Kyle Tucker, like any team could use Taylor Ward.
Yandy Diaz and Brandon Lau, both on the Rays, both on contracts. Lau is going to have an option picked up, I believe.
A club option for cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap, so they're going to pick it up. And Yandy Diaz, I think, has 2 years left on his contract. Both guys, I think, are going to be on their way out. This Rays team, especially in this weird minor league ballpark that they're playing in right now, it's hard to predict what their future looks like. And I think until they get back to the Trop or into a new stadium or whatever, I think
they might this year.
Which they might. I think they would be willing to move on from these guys. Time to kind of cash in. You're not going to have much more time after that.
And that's just the Rays way. The Rays don't let players get to free agency. They have a guy ready to go. I mean, we saw the development of Jonathan Aranda this year. He looks like a piece. And again, Yandy's not really playing much first anymore anyway. But the Rays just will be able to probably replace these guys, not miss much, still win 80 games, and maybe get the wild card spot. I think that Yandy is a guy that's interesting because of how many first base options there are this offseason that are floating around between Pete, Naylor, Mutaka Murakami, Kazuma. I forgot his first name.
Kazuma Okamoto.
Kazuma Okamoto. There are tons of first basemen floating right now. So this might be a poor market for Yandy Diaz. Where at the same time, if musical chairs is played and one team is kind of left holding a bag, then you can kind of take advantage. He to me seems less likely to be traded than Brandon Lau right now.
Yeah, just because I don't know what the true value is on a guy like him, or what the Rays would want back, what people would give up. But Lau,
I think people like Yandy's awesome.
He's a good ball player. I think just because he really is DH though,
Yeah.
that scares some people. A DH who doesn't hit for high home runs in terms of numbers.
25 this year, again in the minor league ballpark. But Yandy Diaz is
Good
for his
ball
career.
player.
So 131 WRC
You know, he can mash. He does
290 career batting average.
He's a good hitter for sure. It's a weird evaluation of what you would give up for a guy like Yandy.
Totally. Where Lau is like probably become one of the more underrated players in the league. The
He's
fact that you
hit
can
30 homers at second base for you, it's hard to find.
Plug and play 30 homers at second base. Like there's who's a fit there?
Second, I mean, he would be great in the Phillies, but they got Bryson Stott. I think they're going to keep him for another year.
Phillies accumulated the 5th most F-WAR from the second base position this past year.
Dodgers could, I guess, be interested in a Brandon Lau. The Blue Jays could be if they don't bring back Bo.
Yeah, the Blue Jays could be too. Maybe a team like we've loved to comp these teams that we wish would spend more money or are trying. The Orioles, the Royals, the Athletics. Like there's teams that could love some pop from second baseman, get a veteran bat, hit in the top of their order.
Who's the Giants second baseman? Am I blanking out on somebody there? He could be going to San Francisco, maybe.
Yeah, you're blanking out on I mean, not really. Right now, Roster Resource has them as Casey Schmidt.
Okay, yeah, they could do that.
It's kind of the one hole in the Giants lineup right now. It's like obvious without like people love Casey Schmidt's defense, but I don't know if it plays that much at second.
No. All right. Kodai Senga, topping off our top 20, and then we're going to start flying through these names so we don't give you guys like 2 hours worth of episode. I think Kodai Senga's moved this offseason.
I think David Stearns has some really, I don't know, not intrusive, but like he really cut deep with Kodai Senga, saying he's not a pitcher that can be relied upon for 30 starts, and that it did seem like internally the Mets were very disappointed with what happened with him this year, and it seemed like he got a bit of the blame for how the pitching totally fell apart in the second half.
Yeah, and I mean, it's fair. He was pretty unusable after coming back from the injury from Pete Alonso's throw. He's expected to do more. There's the weird whole, it seems like language barrier, but also the fact that no one ever seems to be on the same page together, Kodai in the front office and managers and everybody, feels like the relationship's a little bit strained. And I would think that if somebody would come along and take Kodai, I think the Mets would move on, especially with how many young starting pitchers they have coming up the pipeline.
And also just giving them the opportunity to acquire another starting pitcher. The Mets are kind of maxed out with pitchers, like mid-rotation guys right now. They need guys to the top. They probably also just want fresh blood in there, so they can be more reliable than Kodai Senga, as he's shown to be fragile the last few years.
Yeah, definitely. All right, for this next group of guys, we're just going to kind of rapid fire, and if there's anybody we want to talk a little bit more about, we'll say a quick little quip here and there. Edward Cabrera.
I think no, just because of where the Marlins are at, but I mean, I'd love him if he was available, but not getting traded.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he gets traded to this offseason. I think he's just too good on a team that doesn't need to trade him just yet. Shane McClanahan.
Shane McClanahan, I think, gets traded next year, but you're going to start to hear at the deadline if he can pitch the first half and be healthy.
Yeah, I think teams want to see him throw before you invest anything in Shane McClanahan just yet. I agree with you.
Bailey Ober.
No, I think his value right now is awful. And I think he's a good pitcher, so I think it will bounce back. This is a deadline guy for me. Alec Bohm.
I think the Phillies would love to.
Yeah, the problem is I don't know who's going to take him. I think that
Alec Bohm for Taylor Ward?
Maybe that's the future.
Guys.
Maybe that's the future third baseman for the Los Angeles Angels. You know what? I'm in, James. You sold me. Alec Bohm's gone. Going to the Angels. All right.
Wilson Contreras.
Gone. I think he's traded.
Even with the no trade clause.
Even with the no trade clause. I know he said he wanted to stay in St. Louis, but they want to get rid of money and put him on a winning team. He's a good ball player.
Really good ball player. Great season at first base.
Nolan Arenado.
Yes, but who? I don't know. He's not even good anymore.
I'm going to say no for that reason. Who in the world would take Nolan Arenado and pay him any money right now?
Colorado Rockies.
Bring him back. Bring him
home. Bring him home.
They did clear up that spot for Ryan McMahon that was playing third base. He could bring Nolan right back.
I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense. What about Brandon Donovan?
I don't think he gets traded. I think he's a guy maybe at the deadline they'd consider, but I think he's still really cheap, and they still have some years of control on him.
I think I have 2 more years of control.
Jarren Duran.
I'm going to group him with the next guy, Wilyer Abreu. One of these guys is getting traded.
Yes, they
But
have to.
They need the space. Abreu's still pre-arbitration, so I really can't see that happening. Seems like they love him. And Duran, it's kind of a weird relationship. I think that this is the time to maybe trade him.
The name is just always brought up in trade rumors. It's loud, way louder than Wilyer Abreu's name. And truthfully, I think Wilyer might be a more complete player, where Duran might be able to give you more like top tier stuff at times. Riley Greene. Tigers fans this is a hot name.
I don't know why Tigers fans think he's going to get traded. Why the fuck would they trade him?
Because he strikes out so much, James. He strikes out too much.
It's dumb as hell. I mean, yeah, if they trade Skubal, you might as well trade Riley Greene, but they really shouldn't trade either of them because they got to Game 5 of the LDS this year.
At least with Skubal, I can understand from a perspective of we cannot keep him. Even though they can, we can't keep him. Let's move on from him. Riley Greene, like both of these guys should never play another game in a jersey besides the Tigers. But you move on from Riley Greene, that's debatably worse than moving on from Skubal.
Yes, easily debatably worse. Adelise Garcia.
Gone. The Rangers want to save some money. They have a crowded outfield. He's also been dog shit for since the World Series. He kind of pulled a little Steven Strasburg, Patrick Corbin there. Gave it his best and hasn't even come close to being the same since.
Leave it all out there. That's what you got to do.
Jo Adell.
Weirdly, it gets brought up, but I still don't see it.
I don't see it either, especially with the Angels thinking that they might win. And he had a great season, Jo Adell. Give him some props.
Yeah, no, totally. Robert Stevenson.
I mean, how many pitches has he thrown in the last 2 years? I feel like he signed with the Angels and hasn't done anything. So no, because I don't even know if he has pitched.
You guys can sense we're going to get some more chaos names going on here. Carlos Estevez.
Yes, gone. Carlos Estevez for Jeff McNeil. Is Jeff McNeil on this list, James? Did we throw him on here?
I think I threw him on here. It's
okay.
on here somewhere.
Yeah, Carlos Estevez for Jeff McNeil. Make it happen.
Yeah, Carlos Estevez, 1 year deal. Royals team that would probably love to shed a little bit of money if they can get a bat for sure. Ryan Mountcastle, your favorite trade target.
Love Ryan Mountcastle. He's gone. Kobe Mayo, Samuel Basayo at first base. Ryan Mountcastle is on his way out. Could be a future New York Met. Don't keep that out of your ears. It might happen if no Pete Alonso.
First baseman.
Josh Young.
Weird vibe there with him, but what did they get for him? The Rangers are a team that needs to get better.
That's like a sell low. I don't know why they would do it.
It's just a name that, again, there's a couple other ones. I put him on here also next to Tristan Casas at the same time because it just seems like their teams don't love him. And if your team doesn't love you, like maybe they'll just trade you.
The reason I think either of those guys would get traded is to go get clearly a better piece. This isn't a sell to get prospects back or get value back. Yeah, it's to go get another better piece. I think one of those two will be traded, though. I do think it'll be Casas over Young.
All right, another 3 more guys who are still very young in their contracts, and I don't think they're getting traded, but all 3 of the names have weirdly come up. Brenton Doyle, Vinny Pasquantino, Jason Dominguez.
All right, I'll start with Doyle. Brenton Doyle, you are the new Ryan McMahon. The Monforts are going to hold on to him until he has almost no value, then trade him for nothing, and you'll be like, wow, great. Like, way to waste another player's actual value. So Brendan Doyle is the new Ryan McMahon. Did I call him Vince McMahon? Ryan McMahon. Vinny Pasquantino, not going anywhere. I don't think there's even a chance. That would be crazy. He's really good. He had a great second half. Cheap, free, no reason. They need major league players.
But the only thing with Pasquantino is that this is now he's the first year he's going to arbitration. So he's getting a few $1 million raise. We know that some of these teams just don't like spending a few $1 million. But the Royals are one of the teams that do. His name has come up, so we want to throw him on.
Jason Dominguez, hot take. He will be traded. He will not be a Yankee for the entirety of his rookie contract. I don't know if it's this offseason. I don't know if it's at the deadline. But at the time of recording, when this comes out, I'll say this. Thanksgiving 2026, Jason Dominguez is not a New York Yankee.
And we got a report that the Yankees included Dominguez in the trade package for Jarren Duran plus pieces at the deadline. So it's clear that
Which is crazy that the Twins didn't take that. You want to know why? Because he's not that good.
I'm sure that the other player was like Buxton.
Oh, okay.
Because it's Jarren Duran and no one, we know about the end. So it's probably Duran and Joe Ryan, Duran
Griffin
and Buxton,
Jacks.
but Griffin Jacks maybe would do it. But man, who knows? The Yankees could still been playing past where they got to this year. But I think that the Dominguez thing is weird. They're not giving him chances for some reason. Even when he gets hot, he still doesn't play every day.
No, it's not that good. I don't know. I'm just a hater. Luis Severino.
I think no, but I think he would die. He would love to be traded.
I think he's going to ask to be traded. He can't. The pictures of him signing that contract and doing
looking
around, being like, wait, this is where I signed to play. He had no idea that they were in Sacramento.
I think that he knew they were in Sacramento, but I don't think he knew where Sacramento was.
I think he thought that's the same as Oakland.
Yeah, it's close enough, right? They're still wearing the same jerseys, right? Same place.
It's like the Washington Commanders playing Landover. That's Washington.
Yeah. A few quick ones here now, too. Sean Murphy.
Traded. Gone.
Really?
I think he's gone.
Shocked by that.
Drake Baldwin's the answer. You don't want to pay a backup catcher all that money.
I guess that's true, but you're not playing Baldwin any money, so you're just playing both. They're good enough to DH, and no more Marcell Ozuna.
Sean Murphy for Sonny Gray. Who says no?
Oh, both teams. I don't think anyone wants to do that trade.
Lars Nootbaar.
Lars Nootbaar, I think yes. I think the Cardinals again ripping this thing down to the studs, which is why I threw another crazy name on here, Mason Wynn.
Yeah, you've told me this one in private. I don't see it.
I just think that one, JJ Weatherholt's a dude.
He is
and
a dude.
I think that the Cardinals will see the fact that they can get elite player value back from Mason Wynn, because he might be the best shortstop defender in baseball, but he's never proven to be able to hit a lick. Maybe another team thinks they can unlock enough with the bat to turn him into an average hitter, to make him just a 6-win player because of how good the defense is. And I think that because of how few shortstops are always available, you can get a haul for a guy like Mason Wynn for no good reason.
Yeah, but that's also such a Cardinals player to keep around. Like, they're like, we got our great defensive shortstop, where Weatherholt has played second base and third base in the minors last year, and I think that might be more of a home for him.
I think that's also because of how good Mason Wynn is. I think
Yes.
I see your point, but I'm just trying to be like, if I'm trying to put the brain on. Same thing with JP Crawford. JP Crawford is the guy that.
Oh, Mariners fans are going to hate you.
But they know they have Cole Emerson's right there. Like, you're ready to go. And JP Crawford, you kind of saw everything kind of fall back a little bit. I know he's a fan favorite. I know he's become a leader. But he's got 1 year left in his deal. This is kind of what teams like the Mariners do. They trade guys 1 year left in their deal. They try to replace them with a young guy.
I guess you would be like, you'd call the Braves up, see if they just want a major league shortstop.
Braves, Tigers.
I mean, could technically be the Blue Jays if they want to keep him as at second.
I also think the situation where
Bo.
I know the Rangers are. I don't think they want to keep playing Corey Seager at shortstop after the way these last few years have gone health wise. Even though he still can play there, I just think that shortstops are so hard to come by, impossible to come by. It's just if you can find one that plays good defense, you just hold on to him for grim life.
Padres too, maybe just because that's a pipeline there too with trades. You move Xander back to second, put Jake Cronenworth at first because they have Noah Rise. Maybe JP Crawford's your shortstop.
Yeah, maybe that's the one. Another guy who I think will get traded, Nick Castellanos.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's gone. I think the Phillies are so excited to get rid of him that they'll probably pay his entire contract to get rid of him.
Oh, this is the Moneyball line. They're paying you to play against them.
Yes,
but David Justice.
And I don't think Nick Castellanos wants to be there either. He hates Rob Thompson.
Despises him. The quotes, if you guys haven't looked up, maybe we'll do that. How much Nick Castellanos hates Rob Thompson. He benched him for defense, and then he literally bitched about it for 3 straight months.
Nonstop. It's like he goes to sleep at night, thinks about those comments about how horrible he is in the outfield, because he is horrible in the outfield. Brian Reynolds.
I hope not, but I feel like it could. This is a name that will definitely come up in the winter meetings, because Brian Reynolds is due, for most teams, a very moderate, fair amount of money. Yeah. But for the Pittsburgh Pirates, it's like half the state of Pennsylvania. So I think that while they hate spending money, even though it's a year, they definitely should be spending some money, because with Connor Griffin and Bubba Chandler and Paul Skeens and Jared Jones coming back from injury, you should be ready to rip right now. The Pirates are a team that should be dying to be this year's Blue Jays. And there right now, it seems like they're not ready to go down that path.
Can you find a team that has more exciting players but absolutely sucks dick? Like, they're so horrible. Awful. I don't think they'll trade him. Also, Brian Reynolds loves Pittsburgh, doesn't he? Like, he has no interest in leaving.
He's a Southern boy. He went to Vanderbilt. I don't think he's any interest in leaving at all. I think that's why he signed a big extension there. Yeah. Who signs extensions with the Pirates? It's like just him.
They don't sign extensions typically.
That's what I'm saying. But I do think the Pirates just will. I can't even imagine the rush that Bob Nothing gets for taking money off his books.
That's got to be like, oh man.
I just say $14 million.
Can't wait to buy his wife a nice dinner after he makes a trade like that.
Yeah, sneaky rich Bob Nothing. Last 4, just nonsense guys who are more fringy but probably get traded. Garrett Mitchell, JoJo Romero, AJ Puck, Tony Gonsolin.
Garrett Mitchell's my guy. I like that we're throwing him in here because I think he's going to get traded this offseason. It's a roster crunch, and the Brewers might be able to get value for him in a team that doesn't really have space. The other 3, sure. Maybe AJ Puck's the least likely of that.
Last year, team control, though.
Last year, team control, but the Diamondbacks, again, it depends what they want to do. If they get rid of AJ Puck, they have nobody in the bullpen. I don't think they have no arms next year. It's like
no one.
I don't think a single one. So they kind of need AJ Puck, but if they are committing to a rebuild, which would be weird after you paid everybody, then yes, you would trade AJ Puck. The other 3, like JoJo Romero and Tony Gonsolin. I forgot Tony Gonsolin was a Major League Baseball player. I can't believe that he's on the Dodgers roster. That's crazy to me. Sure, you can go to the Tigers, I guess.
Tigers, Nationals, like some bad team that just might want to eat some innings for nothing because he's last year control.
Angels.
JoJo Romero, nice little lefty reliever. I think he will get traded. I think he'll be a difference maker.
Crazy one you want to throw? Just like call your shot. Here's one that we didn't mention that no one's talking about. Who you got, James?
Fernando Tatis.
Ooh, that's always your pick.
When are they going to stop this whole charade of like, we're really trying so hard to compete but being really stupid about it? I think that they're dying to save some money at some point, and I think that maybe there's an idea of that there's a culture problem in San Diego with him and Machado being the leaders, being a little laissez-faire, because they keep getting the same spot and they cannot get over the hump. It's like the worst version of the Phillies.
Yeah, I just gotta pass for taking this shot. Bryce Harper's gone. Bryce Harper's
Ooh.
traded, and it's because he asks for a trade. Dave Dombrowski pissed him off. Bryce Harper wants out. That's my one where I think we're not talking about it enough.
Love it. So we just gave you guys 55 possible players that could be traded.
We did say most of them won't be, but these are guys that might be traded. That's
You'll
the
hear
title
about
of this video. That's why we named it that. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the Windup. We appreciate all the support. You can follow James at
James Shiano.
I'm Giraffe Neck Mark with a C. We'll catch you guys all in the next video. Peace out.